Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. And if you don't already know it, I'm Tom. So today has been kind of a lazy day for me. Didn't do a whole lot in the garage. Kind of hung out with some friends a little bit, but it's just not a day if I don't work on something around the house or in the garage. So I got a couple of little projects, and we'll see how they go here on the video today. But let me start out with project number one here. So I'm sure you all may have a refrigerator like this at your house. And do you have that little thing right there? Replace filter. I'm getting some water. I like to refill my cup, drink some water. Replace filter. So if you got something like that going on your fridge, well, your significant other's probably getting on your case about fixing it. So it's pretty easy. I'm going to show you how to do it on this fridge. This is a Kenmore Elite. Here we go. Kenmore Elite, but they're all pretty similar. But you're going to have to know which model you have in order to get the filter, which I have right here. So we get these, I think, off Amazon, and they actually just send them to us every couple months. We're on a program where they just send them to us, so I usually have a couple of them laying around here. You can pick them up at your big box hardware stores, have them, or wherever you bought your refrigerator. They probably have them as well. So let me get the camera set up. I'll show you how easy it is to change that, and then I'll show you how to reset the minder on there, which, shh, don't tell my wife, but sometimes I just reset the reminder on there. No, I always change it. Come on, you know better than that. Here's what it looks like inside the fridge when the door closes, in case anyone wants to know. Does the light really go out? You're gonna have to tell me, because I don't know. You know, it's always one of those mysteries in life. All right, so get your filter. Now, usually when you get these filters, I've had different type on my last fridge. This one has a little plastic cap. The other one that I had on my last fridge just had one little inlet thing or whatever, and it just had one, but the same kind of little cap. So you pull the cap off of it, and oh, there's a dog fight going on in here. Lift to open. Look at this. You see that? There's an arrow on that thing. There's an arrow on that one. Remove. Install. By Jove, I think we've got it. So the next thing you got to do here is get rid of that light. Here, let's get a cup and fill it up here so I can show you the light is still on, even though we replaced the filter. Go dispense water, replace filter, still on. Now let's see, hopefully we can read this. Hold for 3 seconds to reset filter. So you gotta hold both of these. 1001, 1002, 1003. Maybe it did it. Let's find out. No, I'm gonna try it again here. Three, two, one. It's making happy noises. If I remember correctly, you're supposed to run a certain amount of water through here when you change it. There's probably instructions and everything on here. Should we read them? Yeah, we probably should. But I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera, but I'm going to run about a couple quarts through here. Actually, I'll read the instructions and I'll be right back, and you'll think I knew this before, so stand by. Yeah, like I said, I knew all along it's 4 gallons. You got to run 4 gallons through this filter, so I knew that. It's on the instructions. You know, sometimes as a guy you don't want to read those, but I knew you're supposed to run some water through it. It's a charcoal activated filter, so there's nothing in there that's going to kill you, but your water is going to taste maybe funny initially. So the nice thing about my refrigerator here is that it says how many ounces are coming out. One, oh, there, I even got some air. Did you hear that? We'll dump that out in the sink. And you'll get that. You'll get air through the system. Hear it? It's coming out kind of funny. But 4 gallons, so who's my math majors here? 4 times 128. Water looks a little bit murky here too. So we just have to do that math and make sure we run approximately 4 gallons through there. So that's as easy as that is. Now there's one other filter, well, more than one, a couple other filters in here, and every fridge is going to be different. And this one I've never had a fridge that's had this before. We've had this fridge for a while, and I noticed this the other day. There's a clean flow air filtration, and it says down here, replace air filter when red, and it looks kind of red to me. So I've never done that one before, but it looks like it's right there. So I'm gonna have to look up that filter, get one on order. I thought I saw another one somewhere else in here, same like that. So I'll get those on order, change them out, but keep an eye on this sort of stuff around the house. Keep your significant other happy, and then you have more time to take care of the things that you want to take care of. I have some other projects. Let's go see those, maybe in the garage. It's about 500 million degrees here in Tom's Tinkering and Adventures Global Domination headquarters in my garage, but that's all right. I have a project here. Hang on, let's see, where the heck did the other piece to this go? There we go, we'll get on it. So this is a friend of mine's camera that he used, or tripod thing that he uses to shoot video. Those of you who watch my channel may recognize Robert Roy. He does a cooking channel, but it's a tripod, and he broke the leg off of it. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to reaffix this leg to this part here. Now, your first thought, and my first thought, is one of my favorite items, which is super glue. But I don't think super glue is going to hold it that good. It'll probably hold it for a while, and it might work, but I am going to attempt, let's see if we can get this thing set up better. What I'm going to attempt to do, there we go, oh, this is amazing, is I'm going to bust out my soldering iron. I'm going to take this apart. This looks like it's got a couple of, let's see if we can see them in there. Some Phillips screws in there, some light. So I think if I take these Phillips screws off, this whole thing will come apart. We'll get that leg off, and we'll try to use the soldering iron to heat this up and melt it together, kind of plastic weld it. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to hold. So let's give that a shot. Fine precision instruments here. I usually like to listen to music when I'm in the shop, but YouTube gets picky about playing music. Next thing you know, I got to be paying royalties to the Beastie Boys or something, you know, and I think they got enough money already. I suppose I could sit here and try to find some public domain songs, and I could play them on my awesome little Sony boombox I've got over here. That'll be next. I'll just be playing the Star Spangled Banner and you know, all kinds of kids songs or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Heck, I don't even know if the Star Spangled Banner is a public domain song. I might have to pay royalties to somebody. But it's funny how quick they get on that stuff. I'm still kind of new at this YouTube thing, but a couple times I've added a little bit of music or soundtracks to things, and it doesn't take long. They're on my case. I get an email that says, oh yeah, you're using copyrighted information or copyrighted music. It's like, how the heck are they finding me on this little... I don't have a big web presence, but there must be some sort of a program that goes through and picks all that sort of stuff out. Makes me feel important for a second, I guess, that they care to chase me down for a nickel or whatever I might be worth. All right, let's get a flat tip screwdriver and see if we can't pry this thing apart. You know, and if I break it, it's not that big a deal because it's already broken. Well, I tell people this over and over again when I'm working on things in here. People say, wow, you have so much knowledge, you know all this stuff, and I say many times I have no idea what the hell I'm doing half the time. And this is one of them cases. I pulled all those screws out of this thinking I had to separate this apart to get these out, but take a look at this here. Hopefully you can see this. Ta-da! It just pops off. This is the good one. Now it's all apart, so I can put those screws back in there. Hey, I say it all the time. I'm learning, you're learning, we're learning together. So we got the soldering iron over here heating up. So I've done this before on a lot of motorcycle plastics. You can just kind of heat these items up, if we can focus good enough. So I'll just heat up the crack, I'll hold it together. Heat it up right on the crack and just kind of melt this together. And I will also probably, once I'm done with that, I'll probably go on the inside, melt the inside as well. And then I might even look around here and see if I have some similar plastic and I can add some to it, just kind of melt it together. It doesn't always turn out beautiful, but I've had sometimes where it turns out pretty nice if you're willing to build up the area a little bit and then sand it down. I've had it look very acceptable. I've had plastic panels that were missing pieces, and I've taken various plastic fenders, things that I have laying around here that are kind of junk, but I just have them up in my rafter full of goodies, and I replace the pieces, blend it all in, sand it down. It doesn't look terrible. It looks better than having missing pieces. And a few of them turned out pretty darn good. But we'll see how this works. It doesn't always work. And like I said, this thing is broken to begin with, so that's the worst case scenario. We'll let this heat up a couple more minutes. It will be seamless for you because it'll be right after this. Should be hot. Let's give it a try here. See how it's melting? Hopefully you can see this. I'm trying not to look too closely at the camera because I am holding a very hot soldering iron. I'm just kind of melting everything and kind of pushing it together. And you can see it's kind of creating a little bit of a void there. Like I said, if I can find some more plastic laying around the shop that is similar in composition to this, I can cut a little piece and put it in there as a fill. But if you look, it's already reattached. Now I'm not going to go bending on it because I have to go along this side as well and along this side as well. Let me get this side while we're on the camera, and then I'm going to go all the way on the inside of this also. And the inside's where I can really add a lot of filler. I go on both sides of the crack, get it kind of melted, and then blend it together. And I might be going about half the thickness of this plastic. And what I could also do if I wanted to is I could go a little bit farther out here and blend this in a little bit more. This is going to start getting a little bit thin. And I don't know if you can hear it, I got the fan blowing, so this stuff is not blowing directly into my face because melting plastic is probably, you know, a little bit toxic. Not the best thing to be breathing in. But we've gone all the way around the entire thing now on the outside. I can maybe dig in on the inside here. You're not gonna be able to see anything on camera, so I'll probably do that off camera, and then I will look around my shop and see what I got that's of a similar plastic composition to this. This is a hard plastic, whereas say a motorcycle fender, a dirt bike fender, it would be more of a flexible plastic like an ice cream bucket. So I'm gonna wanna look around and see. This would be plastic similar to what you'd see on a boombox, that kind of plastic. So I'm certain I have something around here that I can scavenge to cut a little tiny piece off, and basically I'll show you how I do that once I locate something around here. All right, I apologize if I ended up upside down or something on some of these videos, because when I'm aiming the camera straight down at my work and then I turn it back on me, sometimes the orientation flips and it's just not my thing. I'm trying to share here, but sometimes I might be upside down. It's okay. Gravity's still working. So when I mentioned that plastic was similar to my boombox, I remembered that the handle was cracked on this radio anyway, and it's probably never going to leave my workbench. So I busted a chunk off the handle, and let's flip this orientation down. Let's see, I cut a couple little pieces here, just cut them into little bits. That's how I do it. And then see if we can see this here. Then I would just take a little piece of this plastic and set it on right in that void area. We're still on screen, it looks like we are. And then I'm just going to melt that in and just blend it in with this stuff, mix it in with. So this is my filler. And first thing I do is I melt it. I melt it on top, and then I go and I try to work it in so it's mixed in. It's not just sitting on top that way. Let's make sure we're on the screen here. Apologize for that. This running a camera and working on things, it adds a whole new challenge to my global domination headquarters here. But I'm down for it. I'm down for a little challenge. I had already started on this while I was working on camera issues, trying to figure out why I was upside down, and who knows, maybe once I get this video all uploaded, I'll figure it out, and then you'll be asking, the hell is he talking about upside down? He's not upside down. But I think I probably will be. Just because the editing is not nearly as much fun as melting plastic with a soldering iron is to me, or fixing a junky scooter, or throwing a tent up in the middle of nowhere. But I do like to share a little bit, and I do like to help people learn a little bit about stuff. So maybe you're learning, maybe you're saying, why the heck is he ruining his soldering iron? Well, I'm not. I use this soldering iron quite often, not just for not just for plastic. I also use it for soldering. I'm not afraid of electrical items. Still on the camera there? It looks like we are. Alright, so at this point, once you get it kind of built up a little bit, you actually can smooth it out considerably. Because this is built up higher than the existing level. So I should be able to smooth it out. And then once this all dries and cools off, I should be able to even sand it. And if I filled this thing correctly, I could have it looking almost like it was never messed with, except for the few places where I kind of melted stuff that I shouldn't have. Now I'm going to go inside of here and I'm going to work this whole thing, and we'll just take that off camera because otherwise this footage will be 3 hours long. It ain't going to take me that long, but we don't need that much footage of melting plastic with a soldering iron. We got a bunch of plastic put on the inside of this. I don't think you'll be able to see it very good. It's not pretty in there, but on the outside, let's see what we can do here. I've got these small files. And it doesn't have to look perfect because it's really just a tripod, but you know, we have a little bit of care about how things turn out. Pride in our work, right? Even when we're fixing things that were destined to go to the trash can, we still can make them look okay. And if this was something that I wanted to be aesthetically pleasing, you could spend as much time on it as you wanted to. Because so far, what do we have invested into it? A little bit of time on an afternoon. And I don't know about anyone else, but my garage is kind of like my bat cave. It's my fortress of solitude. It's my global domination headquarters. And spending a little bit of time out here, even messing around with something like this, which would be considered tinkering, just doing a little bit of tinkering on stuff, is kind of relaxing. At least it is for me. Everyone has their own relaxation techniques. Some people like to play golf. Some people like to go running. I do that too, which some of you may not find relaxing at all. And maybe you don't find working in the garage relaxing. Maybe you like to watch someone else doing it on YouTube. And that's a good way of relaxing. I also like to watch a lot of YouTube videos, mostly learning about things or things that I just wouldn't do myself. So, if you're so inclined to work on a little thing like this that would probably be the type of thing where other people would just say, I'll just order one on Amazon, no reason to fix it. Well, that's okay. Like I said, maybe it brings you a little bit of joy to keep an item like this operational, or just to fix something that would be considered a lost cause. Look at me getting a little bit philosophical here in the garage. But that's how she goes. All right. Well, it's not perfect, but I'm willing to bet that if I wanted to, I could bust out some sandpaper and finish out the rest of it. But you see there's a little bit of a void right there, just tiny. And you can see it looks like complete crap on the inside, but that's going to be on the bottom. but I think it's going to be a success. Let's see, hang on. Oh wow, we're all confused here. There we go, less confusion on the camera. Well, the next thing I got to do is remember how these legs go back on this thing. Let me see if we can get that, and then I will show you the finished product. Shouldn't be too much of a mystery. Looks like they can only go on one way. That one's in, that one's in. It looks tripodal to me. Looks like it could work. And it appears to be pretty strong. I mean, it's still plastic, so let's see if this thing works now. Up, up. Lock it down. All right. So there we have it. Nice day, getting a couple things done around here. I didn't knock out any giant projects, but you stuck with me for a refrigerator water filter, and we did a little bit of plastic repair. So hopefully you learned something. I know I learned something. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.